Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, comedian Edgar Rivera, and I would like to welcome you all to another episode of Brothers in Arms, y'all. A new show created by men for men, where we like to bring awareness to the fact that we don't talk. I mean, we talk a lot, but we don't talk about what's inside. So basically, it's the new way for men to talk. Of course, I can't do this by myself. I gotta introduce you to my team. So right there to the right, you have the one and only, the very funny comedian Eric Nieves, and right next to him, I have the doctor with the most, Dr. Dan Ratner. What's up, fellas? How are you, man?
Good to see you, Eric and Edgar. This is awesome.
Good to see you, Dr. Dan, Big Eggy. How you doing? Tangana, baby.
I'm good. Tangana, man. Thank you all. I would like to welcome you back. Thank you for everyone who has tuned in, who has checked it out, who has liked, who has shared. I can't say that word. You see that? Eric, how you say it? Shared. He looked at me like he was in somewhere else.
Are you trying to use big words again, Edgar?
That's a big word. I'm trying to use a big word. But I'm very excited to be back, man. Basically, if you're tuning in for the first time, welcome to Brothers in Arms. This is a show where we like to get together and talk about men issues and talk about the fact that we need to vent more stuff out, man. And we've done two so far, and it's gone great. And I'm very happy to be here today. So let's get to see what happened this week, bro. What's up, Eric? How you been?
I've been good, man. I've been enjoying this 90-degree weather.
Nice.
No, I'm having, man. I'm telling you, I hate it, man. All my body parts are sticking to body parts. I need less humidity.
Anything interesting happen this week?
No, I'm just thinking about the Delta variant, but that's, every other story is about the Delta variant. So I'm trying to just stay focused and stay positive. Did some shows this past weekend.
There you go.
Happy to be on this third episode of Brothers in Arms, and
nice.
Happy to be hanging with you, baby.
Cool, man. What about you, Dr. Dan? What's up? How you been?
I've been good. This is a joke I already made, but I'm going to make it anyway because it's that good. Because I had kids 12 years ago, and I basically don't know what day it is since. So I don't know what day it is, but I'm glad to be here with you all. That's all I'm going to say.
Nice. Well, Dr. Dan stays pretty busy, man. Dr. Dan, you record every single day, man. Your Crushing Doubt Network is like blowing up little by little. And I had feedback. Every time you put something up, you always get people that give you feedback on the show. And I had one person hit me up. He's like, dude, he's a doctor. But what kind of a doctor is he? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the main question I got. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to have to let Dr. Dan give his credits, So
let's do it. I should explain who I am. So first of all, I'm a psychologist. That means, like, some people think of it as a feelings doctor. You come to me, you talk about what's going on. I mean, I am the exact thing that this show is actually about, except we do it in a confidential setting. But here we get to break it wide open. Now, in the meantime, I've come to specialize in mind-body work. And so what that means is if you're having physical symptoms, I can help you change how you're thinking about things that changes your physiology. In fact, you can see me and Edgar do it, right? You and I did it on the Crushing Doubt Network. And I found that I was able to cure my 8 years of chronic back pain that way. I've been able to cure all kinds of other symptoms in me and other people. And so really, when it comes down to it, it's the same thing we're talking about here. The more in touch you are with what's going on with you, and you're able to articulate it, say it out loud, not have it go inward, you won't have those symptoms. So it's an honor to be here with you guys.
No, man, it's an honor to have you, and for everyone.
We kind of needed them, though. I mean, right? You can't have two comedians trying to talk about mental health and wellness to men. And what are you gonna do? Write a joke?
That's okay. You can't have a bunch of psychologists talk about funny things. I can tell you because I went to grad school.
But we need at least somebody that has some expertise, because it could have been just me, Edgar, and like. Imagine, what I mean?
My God, imagine that. And for the listeners and viewers, man, Dr. Dan has helped me a lot. He has helped me. I did it. I took one of his seminars, and you completely opened my mind in a whole completely different way. And I encourage everyone to check out the Crushing Doubt Network and go check out the videos. And at first I didn't know what to expect, but little by little, after 4 sessions, man, I'm a whole different person. So I would like to thank you for that. And thank you for being here in this table with us. And, discussing men issues and stuff that we need to get out of our chest, man.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here for this episode because this is the first episode where I don't look like I'm in a hostage video because I have actually decent lighting and you can see my face and hear me. So I'm like every other show I look like they're treating me well. Please pay the ransom. So I'm really happy that at least you can see me.
I want to tell people because this is a work in progress. People, you know,
tell them
like,
about the first episode because that first episode still blows my mind.
And you know what? I'm getting a lot of feedback, good feedback from the first episode. But people need to understand that on the first episode, Greg, who's behind the scenes, you guys don't see him, but we will talk about Greg every once in a while. Greg set up a tech run, so I thought it was gonna be just like, okay, lighting, you know, make sure Eric's face is lit up really nice, you know. And he decided just to record an episode, and it was interesting because that was the first day that Eric actually met Dr. Dan.
First time.
It was like a first date. It was like a first date. We were like getting to know each other, but I thought the chemistry went well, and it left me wanting more, which is really what you want from stuff like this, you know. And every episode that we do, we might have a little something here that we might need to tweak, and that's why I go to you guys, the viewers, you know, and comment on everything. If this video touches you, if it helps you in any way, comment, you know, we'll get back to you. We'll reply. If you got any questions or any problems in your life, you could comment on the video below, and either Dr. Dan, Eric, and I will get back to you. Maybe we'll talk about your problem on the air and see how we could come up with a solution, because that's what we're here for. We're here to help each other out and not make it feel like it's weird, you know?
Yeah, and we're gonna find many ways to talk about this. So this brings me to our first full segment.
Ooh,
It's called,
we got a segment.
You ready?
I don't know.
Okay, here we go. It's called Old News, Maybe from Yesterday. I crack Edgar up every time I say it.
I love, because you gotta look at Dr. Dan's face when he introduces this segment.
Go ahead, Dan. Let me see.
I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'll do it.
Look at his face. Look how happy he looks.
All right, it's called Old News, Maybe from Yesterday.
Really?
Hey.
Edgar? Is that easy?
I don't know. Yeah.
Listen, Eric, I'm a closet
hilarious,
comedy
Doctor.
genius.
I'm a
Thank you. I
comedy
appreciate it.
genius.
A closet comedy genius. People don't know about me. You know, this is my coming out party. All right, this is what we're going to talk about. And I wanted to say, you know, most podcasts, they talk about the news and then it's gone. And then people listen to it like 3 weeks later and they're like, I don't remember that. That's not important. So we're going to try to stick to important news, whether it's present or not. There's going to be times where we'll go back and be like, you remember this? What was this like? So I just think it's a more interesting way to look at it. So one of the things we wanted to talk about is something that is basically radioactive. It's so hard to talk about. And that's Bill Cosby. This did just happen recently that they overturned his conviction. And so he's out of jail. This is big news in multiple ways. And it's one of those things that's so hard to talk about. This show is about how do we talk about things that are hard to talk about. In general, everybody's like, don't talk about that. You'll say the wrong thing. It'll be a major problem. And I understand that. But at the same time, we've got to be able to talk about things in a real way. So I'm just curious what you guys are thinking about this at this current time.
Yeah, I heard he's
Who wants to die first?
Stand up.
I'm kidding.
You said he wants to do stand up?
That's what I heard. I heard he's trying to get back on stage, man, which I find very amazing.
Well, I mean, what else could he do? I mean, he can't play football at his age.
He's not very qualified for other things.
I was going to say, not very qualified for much else. That Dr. Huxtable was only on the show. So basically, it's either Jello pudding pop, stand up, or bust, right?
But here's the thing. Is he even qualified for that anymore? You know, how do you do it?
And who will be the first person to book him?
Well, somebody has to be talking about booking him, right? Because, I mean, the one thing about Hollywood that's consistent, if you can make money off it, someone will do it. And you could say whatever you want. If you put Bill Cosby on a pay-per-view special, or somebody's going to pay for that.
But what I want to see from Bill, right? Because, I mean, you guys obviously know more about Bill Cosby than me. I wasn't born here. I was born in Puerto Rico, so my childhood was different. But, like, I remember that he was always that clean comic. You know, he was that clean comic. He never cursed on stage. And he bashed other comedians for being dirty on stage. And his whole career, he's like, oh, this clean person. And then this whole scandal comes out. And it just completely wipes everything away. So it's funny that you brought him up, because doing this podcast, I want to do this podcast to try to learn more about myself and look within myself inside. So I think about what he's going through. And if now that he's out, what are you going to do, bro? Are you going to come on stage and do a little pudding joke, or are you going to come on stage and talk about what really happened and what people want to know, or defend yourself? Because how do you live with that secret inside, that anger, and what the hell he went through while he was in there, you know?
And see and that's what I was, I kind of thought about that when we first talked about bringing up the subject, the fact that he had to project this image all the time and just be this perfect husband and father in this country. And yet on the side, he's been accused and was convicted of doing these horrific things to women. Like, was there a time where he could have looked for help and said, maybe I need to talk to somebody before I spike a drink? You know what I mean? He could have asked for help or if he went to therapy to try to, no, I'm serious, man. He had to be thinking about it. No one just walks into a room and then decides to do things. These thoughts were building up, and he had the resources to find help.
You know what's funny, Eric? As you were saying it, one thing I was thinking about, first of all, I don't know what actually happened. I do know that the number of people who have had accused him, I tend to believe people when they say these things happen to them, and I want them to get the help and support that they need. I know how bad denial of what actually happened would actually be. But it is interesting. I think that if a guy like Bill Cosby had a better support system, maybe of men, where he got to talk about whatever was going on, maybe he wouldn't have done some of those things. And I'm hoping he wouldn't have done any of them. Like, talking about things can get rid of a lot of potential nuclear bombs. I just wanted to say that.
True. I agree with you 100%. And how do you live with yourself when you're holding something like that and then badging people, and like acting like other people are doing wrong deep down inside? You got this big secret. You gotta
admit, Eddie Murphy must have been kind of laughing a little bit because of, he definitely went in on, you can't curse on stage, and Eddie must be like, you can't drug people. So
it's true.
So he was probably the one that like.
It's true.
But if he does decide to do stand-up, guys, he would have to go the route of Richard Pryor, where he would literally have to purchase the airtime himself, not without any financial backing from anybody. No one can sponsor it. It's got to be him dropping whatever money he got left from his pudding pot money, and putting a special out there with just him in a chair and a mic, and just start by saying, I got something to tell you. You know what? I got a story.
But how about he starts by saying, I fucked up? That would be great. That
would be amazing.
That would be great to see, And you. It's funny that you brought Richard Pryor.
I fucked up. I was wrong. Would be a better opening. I fucked up. I fucked up as I made an accident. I had an accident.
But I just want to hear him curse. I just said that to him.
Oh, just for the curse? That's funny.
I just want to hear him curse for the first time. But it's funny how you brought up Richard Pryor, and it's crazy how I feel like in this industry that we're in, entertainment and everything else, most people hold everything back, and a lot of entertainers are real sensitive. They worry about their image and everything else. And when Richard Pryor set himself on fire and he came back to do that special, on the first night, he tried to go back on stage and do his material. And he got booed. Richard Pryor got booed. If you look at the special, there's a documentary on it. He got booed so bad that he couldn't even last 15 minutes on stage. And then the next day he came back. And as a comedian, Eric, you know how hard this is to get booed on stage and then get back on stage the next day. And the next day he went on stage and he talked about setting himself on fire, and people loved it. Because that's what we want to hear. You know what I'm saying? Half the time I tell comics a lot. I tell comics, do you funny, but who are you? Who are you? For me, I want to get on stage and I want people to know me. So if Bill Cosby wants to do comedy, dude, you better get on stage and talk about everything. Talk about that. I don't want to hear no jokes. I don't want to hear you better not defend your name because you're already guilty of what you got accused of. But get up there and tell us something that we really want to hear.
I do also want to say, though, when these kind of stories come out, it's very easy to get focused on the famous person and whether they did it or not. But there's a lot of real and basically completely anonymous victims or sufferers and what they've been through. And I would like there to be more of a focus on that and what it is they feel they need in this situation. Because, you know, for a lot of people, I mean, let's say Bill Cosby did this to you, and then he gets let off. Like, what does that say to you about the safety in the world? So there's a million different ways we can go with this.
Well, I think the first thing the survivors want was for him to stay in jail. I think that would have been the first one. I think everything else would have been secondary. Just keep him in jail.
Well, and you know why? It's because, you know, the sense of justice that is there or not, depending on whether he's in jail or not, it matters. So we the thing I think is great about this show is we're going to talk about everything. And I think we're going to find ways to talk about it in ways that hopefully work for everybody, that they're not meant to be sound bites at all, and they're just meant to talk genuinely about it. I don't have the answers. None of us have the answers. We're just like, holy shit, what do we do? What do we do with this situation?
Yeah,
so,
and honestly, my heart goes out to all the women, you know, that were a part of this, and you know, and thinking about it, I give props to the first one that stepped up. You know, the first one that took that step and came forward, and then afterwards you see all the ones that came forward, and knowing how good it feels to get something off your chest. I'm thinking how good it felt for these women to actually say, okay, this happened. I'm not the only one. You know what I'm saying? And it's messed up that, you know, everything got overturned and he's back out. But I don't think he's going to do that much damage, man. That dude looks very old.
Well, he's 82. Well, listen, he's 82, but that's not the, and, you know, listen, at this point in his life, he could do whatever the heck he wants, right? I mean, I'm hoping maybe he puts some of his money away. To me, I think the smartest thing for him would be just to disappear. Because I know that we're really big on I think people are really turned on him because of the projection that he presented to us was like one of the most misleading shams in American history. And I think you could link that to regular men who feel like they have to project a certain or project strength, or, you know, like we feel like, you know, like I'll make the analogy, like any man, any male, if anyone that you're attracted to even touches your arm a little bit, you will flex that arm, right? You will flex that arm as if you're flexing a muscle. There's no additional muscle that gets built with that flex. And it only feels harder in your arm, in your head. They don't feel any difference. I mean, you're thinking you feel like a sculpture, and really you feel like Edgar. But we feel like we need to project this kind of masculine strength in order to be men. So he needed to project this image to be somebody. And like you said, Dr. Dan, sometimes talking about things can prevent big explosions. You know, maybe if he had a better support system, maybe if he went to therapy, maybe if he opened up about these thoughts he was having, maybe he would have been able to prevent his own actions. Who knows? But, you know, he just felt this need to project. And I think that all men need to stop feeling the need to project and just take confidence in who they are as men. And what we're trying to project will come out naturally as long as we just have, you know, a little more confidence in ourselves.
Look, even with school shootings, a lot of those things really do come from the fact that these people are having some kind of internal experience that they do not know how to talk about, they can't handle, and then boom. Yeah. Maybe that's a good one for next old news, but I think we need to get a little less serious at times. I don't want to go from Bill Cosby to school shootings. So it sounds like we're only talking serious.
Well, but a lot of people would say you should invite Bill Cosby to the school during the shooting.
That's right. A lot of people would like that very much.
And dismiss everyone, all the kids except him, and just have him by himself at the school.
And I will say one last thing on this. You said I don't think he's going to do much damage now, and I do agree with you on that. But the problem is the damage he's already done.
It's been done.
And so I don't know. We're just going to need to keep talking about it.
Well, I kind of agree.
Now the question is now, like, you know, I'll still watch an old episode of the Cosby Show every once in a while if it comes on. Yeah. I don't turn it off and go, you know, and spit at the TV. But now I'm curious to see if I would actually watch what he has to say now. But because I don't know if he can be honest. He's been living such a lie for so long that, I mean, I don't know if he can even live his truth. You know, I know it's an overused term, but I think it is very powerful. If you live your truth, you are really free of any binds that hold you back. And you don't feel like you have to project an image anymore because you're just living your truth and living your life, and everything else works itself out. I don't know if he could be that honest.
Yep.
He's already in a negative place. No matter what he does, he's already paid the price. He's already, whether he vanishes and we never hear from him again, or whether he comes out and talks about it, either way, he's dead inside. That's the way I see it.
Also consider, I don't know if I think you brought this up, Woody Allen married a stepdaughter. Roman Polanski's still making movies, and he's still on the run from a rape charge in LA. But you don't get quite the same uproar. Is it because, and Woody Allen never pretended to be America's dad. And Roman Polanski never pretended to be anybody's dad. So, I think it's kind of different. I think they felt like it felt like a bait and switch, like the Cosby that was projected opposed to the Cosby that may actually have been.
You're also bringing up the point about, how do you separate the art from the man and or the woman? But unfortunately, when it comes to problems in society, I'm just going to say this. Most of the problems in society generally are caused by men. And I think a lot of that is because we don't know how to talk about these things. There's all kinds of reasons for it. But, I think we have to think about, well, there are times where I feel comfortable separating the art from the man. But like if I said to people, the Cosby Show should still be on, it's a great show, whatever. I understand that, but then there are the victims out there. And if they don't want that, if that causes pain to them, it's not worth it to me. Yeah. Even though I can separate it myself, that's not worth it to me.
No, most channels even they already stopped showing the Cosby Show once he went in. I don't even think they air it anymore. I mean, even like all the channels dropped it. I mean, I guess if I was a survivor, I wouldn't want him making more money on the episode where Rudy flushed a goldfish. I'd be thinking, listen, you know what? I don't want to see Rudy flushing the goldfish anymore. I think I'm done with that.
But you brought up a good point, Eric. He had all the sources for getting help when he was going through the secret life and this thing that we didn't know about. And hopefully everyone listening could learn from this. This is something that God knows what happens when you hold something in so much, not venting out, not letting out. And this is the purpose why we brought up Bill Cosby, because you know what? He lived a lie. And if he would have gone help 30 years ago, maybe half these women would have never gone through it, But
God willing, none of them.
No one wants to come out and step out. And that's what we talked about in the first episode, man. Sometimes, you know what, even how ugly it is, no matter how bad it is, dude, step out and take the heat that comes with it. And hopefully, people would accept it, move on, forgive you. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's not holding it in, and hopefully, man, let's see what happens, because he had a lot of help and he never got it. So I'm very interested to see where this goes.
Eric, bring us into the next segment here.
Yeah, it's
and you better make a funny face like Dr. Dan.
I will try, but there's only one Dr. Dan. The next segment, I came up with this idea because I think one of the things that makes one of the reasons why men have a difficulty talking about their feelings is because of the stereotype of men don't share feelings. Men have to be strong. Mm-hmm. So I thought about a segment called Breaking the Mold, where we break the mold of what is considered acceptable to be a man. Like, in order to be a man, you got to be able to fix everything. And you got to know everything about sports, and you got to fight everybody. Well, I can tell you right now that I can't fix anything. Edgar knows nothing about sports, and I don't know if Dan can fight.
No,
so but yet we're all men. Okay, we're all men, and we're our definition of men, and we need to expand the definition of men by breaking the mold. And just to show you how we can break the mold, I'm going to ask Edgar. Okay. And anyone that knows, Edgar's a Puerto Rican from the Bronx. And what do Puerto Ricans from the Bronx know about? Baseball. Sports.
The Yankees.
And yet, Edgar knows nothing about sports. And I'm going to prove it by asking him a simple question and to see if he can answer it. Edgar, are you ready?
Go ahead.
All right.
I'm ready. Can I get a lifeline?
No, but you can call a friend.
That would be cool
named
if I get
Dr.
a lifeline.
Dan. You can call a friend named Dr. Dan. That's
the only lifeline you have.
That's the only lifeline you got. Okay. Right. Who was the NBA All-Star center that played for the New York Knicks 15 years? What was his name?
Yo.
Took him to the finals.
You have to say a name, by the way, Edgar. You can't say I don't know.
Yeah, you
have to
can't say
make up a
it.
name.
You cannot say the tall guy. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Black guy? No, no. I really don't know. But if I had to guess, the first person you said the Knicks,
Yeah.
Patrick Ewing.
Oh,
Wow.
he got
Was it?
It
Yes.
For real?
Edgar.
Look how excited he is.
Oh, look how shocked
Are you
I am.
serious? But you know the sad
guess.
part is, you know what the sad part is? That's the only player I know from the New York Knicks.
Yeah, I
Even if
swore
it
you weren't
wasn't-
going to get it because, I figured you weren't into basketball at all.
I'm not at all. Do you have another one? Do you want to?
I
give
do
me
have
a
another
sec-
one.
Go
I
ahead.
have another one, and
ahead.
if you get this one, then I'll be really shocked.
All right, cool.
Okay. Which professional championship of the three major sports is the winner awarded the Larry O'Brien Trophy? In which major sport of the three major sports are you awarded the Larry O'Brien?
Three major
Trophy?
sports is baseball. What, like? Can you give me the sports at least
No.
so I could pick
No.
one?
Wait, this is gold right here. He doesn't know the three major sports.
Yeah, he doesn't
This is
even know the
awesome.
three major sports. Yeah, it's the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Those are the three main sports.
Edgar, you got football, baseball, and basketball.
Football, baseball, and basketball.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
so
Larry-
which one do you think you get the Larry O'Brien Trophy?
Basketball.
I can't win with you today.
He's on fire.
Well, you
he's on
shouldn't have
fire.
given him the three major sports, Dan.
I know, it's my fault.
All right, I'm going to ask you one more, Edgar. And if you get this, then you know a lot more about sports than I thought.
I'm just lucky, man. After we finish recording this episode, I'm gonna go play the lotto, and I'm picking the numbers myself. Go ahead.
Okay. The New York Yankees had 4 players during their championship run in the 90s and the 2000s, where 4 players were considered the core 4. Who are they?
No way he gets this.
No way. I'm thinking the Four Horsemen.
Patrick Ewing, Larry O'Brien,
Larry
Larry
Ewing.
O'Brien.
Patrick Ewing, Michael Jordan.
I'm Bronx Bombers, baby.
You won. I mean, no, dude. No. The quad? What you say?
They called them the 4 core because they were 4 homegrown players that they drafted and came up in the system and really
Okay, I know
ended
one
up
of them.
winning the
Jeter-
majority
Jeter's
of the
one of them.
championships with them.
Jeter's
You
one
are
of them.
correct. Jeter is one
Jeter's
of them.
one of them. No, Alex Rodriguez.
No, you can't go in. Once you mention him, you can't go any further. No. Sorry.
What about Dom Mattingly?
Wow. Right before the year
Winfield?
after they won. The year after he left, they won. Dr. Dan, you want to take the question?
Sure.
Do you know the question?
I think I can do it. All right, we've got Jeter. We got Bernie Williams. We got Mariano Rivera. Is he one of the 4?
Yes.
And who would be the 4th of that group? Robinson Cano?
Jorge Posada.
Jorge Posada.
Jorge
Okay, well, still, I got one of the
Posada.
core guys.
Well, you got
but
3 of them, man.
Dan, you
I
did
ain't- I
good.
ain't got
You did
none.
good.
I could have named the whole team. I can tell you
mean-
about Shane Spencer. I know about all these.
Wow. Shane Spencer. 1 year wonder.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. All right, relax. Okay, so now since you did that,
Yes.
So I decided just to break the mold and show people that I'm not the only one that knows sports, and I'm good with it. I'm good. I don't apologize, like Dr. Diane said. I don't apologize. I don't know shit about sports. But let's ask Eric some questions. Huh? You ready? You ready on how to do shit around the house?
Let me preface this by saying that Edgar is he's almost like a borderline professional contractor. He could do sheetrock painting, repairs like this. I mean, he literally is the super son. There's not much he can't do.
all
He
right.
has a row of keys right now hanging on his belt.
Okay. So I got a good one. I'm gonna make it simple for you, Eric. All right.
Okay.
Do you know how to paint?
What do you
By
mean, like
numbers?
walls?
Yeah, like painting walls. Like if your wife were to tell you, Eric, can you paint the house?
I could paint a landscape or something. No. I think I've never painted my own walls.
So you don't know nothing about fixing. So you do know about sports, but you don't know nothing.
I
right?
don't know.
So,
Thing.
all right, so when
let me tell you
paint-
how bad I used to call my sister over to help me to build my IKEA furniture. Okay, I'm not even joking. Every time I moved, I would get new furniture, and I would have to have my sister Celeste come help me put it together.
I don't
Mess with like
you
the
know
Allen wrench and be like, "What is this thing?"
For some reason, she was able to speak Swedish. I have no idea how she was able to speak it.
I
and
don't
read
even
it,
have
but-
any more questions for this dude. He just admitted that he doesn't know nothing.
No.
about
But
it.
I have. Listen, but that's furniture. I
But
have
a little
done some
knowledge.
things.
I'll ask
I've
you a
done
question.
some things. I've done.
I
some
asked you a
things.
question, right?
Yeah, I'm getting
in regards
defensive.
to
I'm
painting,
projecting.
right?
Projecting.
Right. So when you paint, right, and
Right.
you have a hole in the wall, right? You got to cover it with what?
A lot of paint, just a lot.
Plaster.
Ooh, there you go. See, you know. So I guess we're on the road today. He said plaster. It sounded like your wife was behind you. Plaster. Okay, Eric. One more. I'll give you one more, bro. Like, let's say right now, this very moment, right? The lights go out in your apartment. The first thing you do.
Grabs my wife's behind.
So that's your final answer. You grab your wife's behind.
I'll make sure my 7-day Santera candle is still lit.
No, but if your lights go out and
Uh-huh.
and it's darkness, wifey starts screaming, what do you do as a man? What do you do?
Look out the window to see if everybody else's lights are off, so I know if it's a personal problem. I don't know.
Edgar, what do you do?
What do you do?
What do you do, man?
Yeah.
You go to the panel. You check the fuses. That'll be the first thing I do if my lights go out and I
You wouldn't look out the. No, wait a minute. I'm judges. I'm fighting this question. Wouldn't you first look out the window to make sure you weren't the only person that didn't have lights, and then
I
if you
think
noticed
Eric-
everybody else had lights, then go to the fuse box?
So if you looked out the window and everybody had lights, what would you do then? Now, obviously,
then I would ask my wife what to do.
That's great. Well, listen,
You know,
I'm
Go ahead,
not
Doc.
I'm not a home improvement kind of guy. Do you remember when we were talking about this segment and you guys asked me if I knew how to change a toilet seat? Do you remember what my answer was?
You say you go buy one.
No, I said go find a different toilet.
That's right.
Dr. Dan will buy a whole toilet.
Dr. Dan got 2 stalls
I'm
in his
fixing
house.
that thing. No, I think there's like some kind of screws or something. You take a screw.
Yeah. I like how he's really serious about this. Dr. Dan, I got one for you actually.
All right, let's hear it.
I like the one that you said, Eric, about Dr. Dan, knowing if Dr. Dan knows how to fight. But I have a trivia for you, Dr. Dan. It's gonna be on 90s hip hop.
Oh.
You ready?
Listen, if I
that's-
know
and
any
that-
hip hop, it's 90s, but that's
Yeah, and apparently that's directly connected to fighting somehow. 90s hip hop and fighting.
90s hip
Are
hop,
one.
Dr. Dan. In the 90s, there was a famous hip hop group, right? That had a song that went a little something like this. I'm gonna sing it for you, and then you have to finish the ending of the lyrics. You ready?
oh god, I have to actually.
You ready?
I have to
ready?
rap? Is that what
It
you're
went a
telling
little
me?
something like this. It went engine number 9 under New York Transit line. If my train falls off the track,
We will never get this back. I have no idea. What is it?
I think I like that lyric better.
There you go.
it's pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Who wrote this?
Black Sheep.
I don't even
in
know.
the 90s. But Dr. Dan, Biz Markie just passed away like last week, which is
I
like
heard
horrible,
that he had passed
man.
away, and then
All
you
right.
asked me what was
What-
his
What
signature,
did Biz Markie do?
and I was like, he rapped. I don't know anything else.
Well, you say he's just a friend.
Oh, is that Biz Markie?
That's
That is
busy,
that.
yeah.
that's
remember
funny. That's funny. That you got one for either one of us, Dr. Dan, or should we move
Oh.
on?
I listen. I have plenty for you. I mean, I was gonna ask you like, Edgar. This would be more sports oriented. But like, if you were in a party and someone was talking sports, what would be the one sport that you would surprise people about, that you'd actually know something? I don't care if it's tennis or curling, or maybe there's none.
I never even seen curling, so
Do you know what curling is?
No, I don't. You know what it is that I could watch a game, man, but I just don't know about players. I don't know names. I don't care about their names. I don't care about their stats. But I would say I would watch football more than anything.
Oh wait, I have a great question for you both. Okay, because when I was 16, I got my license. I was driving a car, and then I got a flat tire, and my friend just made fun of me to no end that I had no idea how to change it, none. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, first of all, I just started driving. Like, why do you think I should know this? Mm-hmm. So, how much do you guys know about cars? If you had to, let's say your car breaks down, side of the road. We'll start with you, Eric. Your car breaks down, side of the road. You've checked other cars are not broken. Other cars are not broken. It is a personal problem. Okay.
That's hilarious that he said you checked and other cars are not broken.
What
like
do
if
you
your
do?
car breaks down, all the cars.
They're all connected.
No, it might be.
They're all connected.
So what do you do if your car breaks down?
I know nothing
big gulp.
about cars. I did actually just change a tire Monday, a couple days ago. Yes. I was able to get the lug nuts off, but I couldn't pull the tire off. The rim. I was there for like 45 minutes, yanking at it, pulling. I kept falling. I'm cursing. I'm sure everybody in the building staring out the window. I literally was this close to calling a garage and saying, listen, I don't care who you are. I will give you $50 if you come to my driveway and please pull this tire off my rim.
Okay, wait. I want to add something to that, Eric. I have gotten to a point where if I had to change a tire, I immediately would call someone else. I'm just gonna say it. Like,
okay,
I'm not good at everything, and not only that, I don't have time for everything.
Yeah, but in your own driveway, like I'm in my parking lot. Okay, I could understand if I'm on the highway and I don't want to pull out a jack, but I'm so bad with it. I mean, I couldn't even. I finally did pull it off after 45 minutes and a lot of bruising. But the only thing I know about a car is getting the oil changed. That's about it.
Wait, getting an oil change or doing it?
Oh, yeah, driving to get the oil changed. No, I know exactly where to drive, and they give you a free car wash. I know exactly how to get there and what time it is not busy. That is my skill.
That's hilarious. I got 3 letters for you, AAA.
Yeah, I know.
That's if you ask me, Don, what would happen if my car, broke down in the middle of the highway? I would press that little button and be like, OnStar, listen, I don't know what happened. I would check, though. I would check depending on what happened. Did it turn off? Did we run out of gas? Gas is the first thing to look for. So you know about gas. You look at your
now
temperature.
You're just showing off, Edgar. See,
dude. I'm teaching the men out there who don't know about this.
Well, you can tell me the flugel binder is broken, and I'd be like, the flugel binder. Where do I buy that?
We should try.
Do I need
like
the big flugel binder or the little flugel binder? When I walk into a garage, the guys they start giving each other high fives, like, "Oh, we getting paid. My kid's going to college on this one."
Wait, Eric, you gave me a great idea. We'll wrap up on this, but I think what we should do next time we quiz Edgar on sports, guys, we should give him fake names. We should be like, what sport is Phil Roberto from?
I'm mad that he used 2 first names. And he made him white and Latino. Phil Roberto.
I don't know who that guy is.
Roberto plays curling.
Well, actually, I think I went too easy with the sports questions, and we can't give him. If I say it's one of the 3 major sports, you can't tell him what the 3 major sports are next time.
You're
well,
right.
honestly, Eric, if to be fair, I guessed both answers. Patrick Ewing was the first person that came to my mind when I asked it, and I was almost afraid to say it. Well,
look, the bottom line is this: you don't know anything about sports. I can't fix anything, and Dr. Dan has no idea who Black Sheep is.
That's
right.
We're
all men.
None.
But we're all men, and that's the whole point of this segment, to show that we are all different, but if we could all help each other out, I mean, that's we're not all built the same. We all have different issues, but at the end of the day, we are men, and one hand watches another. That's what my father always told me, man. So, if you guys ever need help with painting, I'm here for you. You know what I'm saying? If you need questions with sports, ask Dr. Dan. Don't ask me nothing, And
that
Dr.
sounds
Dan,
good. And if you need
I'm going to teach you how to rap by season 10.
All right. And listen, if you need help identifying a folk singer from the 60s, I can help you.
There you go.
I'm looking for a Joni Mitchell connection.
All right, cool, man. So now moving on. Now I like the fact that we did that, and it kind of sort of broke the ice a little between the Bill Cosby conversation, and we joked around, and and show people that we are all different in one way, and it's nothing to be ashamed about. But now we're bringing a little more serious segment, which we called Walking the Walk, which it's basically, I tell people this: I can't be on this show, and I can't promote this show, and I can't, do this show if I don't practice what I preach. You know what I'm saying? And I for one did the first Walking the Walk, which we premiered on last episode, and it's basically a moment where we could all, we all take a few minutes to talk about what's bothering us. Whether it's something right now, whether it's something that bothered you a long time ago, whether it's something that you're holding inside that you want to let out, to know how good it feels. And there's no judgment, there's no guilt, there's nothing. We're just talking as men, and basically, just let stuff out, and then we'll all talk about it and see how we feel at the end. And last week I went, and this week I think Dr. Dan went as well. And this week,
I'd like to recap. I'd like to recap about the last show, because I don't think I think that was a very powerful moment that I don't think we should leave untouched without at least touching back on it a little bit, because it came right at the end of the show. Would you agree, Dr. Dan?
I agree, especially about what Edgar went through. I mean, it's interesting because we had very different experiences and narratives about that. But Edgar, let's check in with you first. How do you feel thinking back on what it was you talked about and how it came out?
Well, it was I tell people this, man. It felt good. It felt good to share. It felt good to show that side of me that no one has seen as a comedian. We get on stage, we joke around, we always joking, but no one sees that side inside. And me showing my emotional side and connecting my emotions and talking about how my mom passed away, which is the hardest blow that I've ever taken. And at the end of the day, that's your mom, and it made me feel good. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. Afterwards, after we stopped recording, after we stopped everything, I got into my own head. And Dr. Dan, I got a lot of doubts, like a lot of doubts. Like as a man, I'm like, man, I just showed that side of me. Like everyone is gonna see this. Everyone is gonna see me like letting the tears come down my face, and it started like questioning me. I felt like almost like when you do a bad set, Eric, and you have a bad set on stage, and then you go home and all you do is you can't get out of your head because you're thinking about how can you make that set better. That's exactly how I felt with that segment. But at the end of the day, it made me feel good. It made me feel good not to hide that side of me. It made me feel good to let people know that, you know what? Yeah, I am depressed. Yeah, I suffer from anxiety. There's times that I can't stop crying. And I'm not afraid to say it as a man. I'm not afraid to say it. And I'm glad that you guys got to see the side of me. I'm glad that you made a joke about it, Eric, because that sort of broke the ice. And it could show people that no matter how much you share, at the end of the day, we all joke about it. We laugh. Laughter's the best medicine. And we move on. So when I could tell you people at home listening and watching this, and if you saw last week's episode, it was hard at first, but I feel better. I can't explain it to you any more deeper than that. I feel better, man, and I'm really looking forward to what Eric has to share today, y'all, because, I mean, anything you want to say, Dr. Dan, on that?
I mean, the only thing I'll add in terms of my own experience is like you never know how people are going to respond to what was said. And like the thing that I said, it's really deeply personal to me. And I don't share it with most people. But and we could even do comedy riffs about it, there's plenty to go there. But
yeah.
I think it's great that we talked about what was really on our minds. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to say something that I don't usually talk about. So now I want to hear from Eric now. What do you got?
I just want to remember that Dan wanted to get married at 13.
Yes. The child bride episode.
Thank God for Mississippi.
I was 13 at the time. I mean, we got to at least say that.
It's funny because, this could be about just an event or just something that's boiling up inside. I think that what I wanted to share the most is because I really gave it a lot of thought, is that there was a time in my life where I had to get involved in a relationship with therapy. I'd lost my dad, and I went through a divorce, and I decided to just move to California. Really bad timing. Totally isolated, knew no one over there. And it was a really low point in my life. And most of the time I was able to pull myself out of it, but I couldn't. I had lost all focus. Like everything was out of focus. Nothing seemed real. I had really no foundation, nothing grounding me. And it took my family to convince me, like, listen, you can't do this yourself. You know what I mean? You got to, and then they would start throwing around jokes like lithium, like I need to be on medication. Lithium, son. But I fought it. I resisted it. And because I felt like I should be able to just get through it. And then I crashed and I realized I couldn't. So I had to take a first big step and really get involved. And it didn't end there. It hasn't been a continuous practice. I stopped. And then whenever I feel the need to resume, I resume, if I feel things are going beyond my control. Because for me, my life is the picture, but I need a frame around it to keep it balanced. And when that frame gets crooked, the picture gets blurry. And then I need to reset and be reminded to reset the frame, to put me back at center. So, and that's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to, first of all, admit it to yourself that you need to talk to somebody, and then take the step to do it. And then while at the same time, your cousin yelling behind you, lithium. But I did it. And I'm so glad that I did, because not only did it really balance me out, I don't think I would have been at the place where I'm at right now, where I'm happy. I'm in graduate school. I'm on a great podcast, still doing stand-up. Marriage is good. But I wouldn't be able to have those things if I didn't build a foundation through therapy and through talking about it and really learning what was going on. And it was beyond just the situations in front of you. It's a lot of stuff behind it. I think it took me a lot of years to really acknowledge my father's death, because the first thing I did when he died was leave town, because I just wanted a new beginning. And I put myself in a completely isolated place, completely by myself. It was probably the worst choice I probably made. Not to say it wouldn't have happened if I stood in New York, but at least in New York, I had some kind of support system. In Los Angeles, I didn't have anything. And I wasn't doing comedy as much. It was just a bad time. And I hate that it took me to crash before I actually went and sought the help. There's, especially since, I'm always really good with giving people advice, and usually it's good advice. But sometimes I think people with good advice give themselves the worst advice, or are really horrible at advising themselves. I guess self-perception is very difficult, because no one really truly sees themselves as others see them. You kind of see yourself the way you think you are, but you really just have to just be you instead of just thinking about who you are. And that's part of what I picked up in therapy is, if you take care of your moment and your feelings and yourself, everything around you will kind of figure itself out. And you'll realize that worrying about it and thinking about it so much really didn't have much effect on what was going on around you. It just added stress to you that you didn't need, and took away from focusing on yourself and the moment. And I think the hardest thing to live in any life is right now, without thinking about who's listening or the consequences of it, just living. And I think if you could put just a bunch of those moments in a row, then that to me is kind of living the personal truth. But I wouldn't have been able to get even close to this if I didn't talk to somebody and get into it and go every week. And, it doesn't have to be for a lifetime. I know Howard Stern, my hero, has been in therapy for 20 years, and he goes 3 or 4 days a week. That's not That's not necessary for everyone. It may be necessary for some, but I'm so glad I did it. And I don't regret it. I've never talked about it, but I don't regret it.
Is this actually the first time you ever talked about it? I'm just curious.
But beside my my wife knows, my cousin
Lithium.
Yes.
I was dying to say it. I was waiting for a segue to be
That
like,
was the 8 a.m. moment right there.
I'm telling you, he would just be like, yo, lithium, son, and walk away because, that's the way he's the closest male to me, even more than my father, is this cousin I'm talking about. And he saw me deteriorating, and it was killing him.
Let me
I had to go
add to
live
that,
with
Eric.
him for a while. It was not a good time, but I'm so glad I did what I did. It felt weird in the moment, but because I just wasn't used to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't even tell you the benefits. It's been I'm a completely different person on a lot of levels, and I know there's still room to grow. And as recently as 2 years ago, I resumed therapy because I felt like I needed a tune-up. Mm-hmm. I needed a refresher. I needed a reset, and I'm not afraid or above the idea of doing it again whenever it's needed. And I think that's something. Once you acknowledge that it's like bringing your car into the garage, but your mind is the best machine available. And if you had a classic machine that did these amazing things, would you not want to take it in to be maintained? But yeah, it's tough. It was tough. It's even tough to talk about it now, still to a little bit.
And no, bro, and know that you have Dr. Dan and I here for you. It's not just therapy. I need people to understand that it's not for you to get a therapist, man. Sometimes just letting someone listen to you that's generally gonna care and listen to you. That's all it takes.
Oh yeah.
I want to add to your story.
I'm glad you said that because it could be just as simple as being honest with your best friend. It can go across the spectrum of therapy. It could be anywhere in the middle. But the most important thing is just don't keep it to yourself. That's all. Just don't keep it in. Let it out. Because if you keep it in, it will come out in a different way that you don't want it to. And it could be just as simple as a conversation with a friend, but it could be whatever you need it to be. And whatever you need it to be, there's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Exactly. And you know what's crazy? And I've always wondered about this because I've known Eric for like almost 20 years, So I was there. I was there when he took that step. I was there when he moved, and it was crazy because now hearing about your dad and everything else, I didn't know you that well where I knew the details of what you were hiding inside. But I remember the show that we did for you at the New York when everybody was sending you away to Hollywood, like you were like you were gonna blow up. You know what I'm saying? That was the kind of goodbye that he got. Like, well, he's leaving New York to go to Hollywood to pursue his dreams, and we were all happy. But seeing when you came back, I as your boy, I noticed a difference, and I always wonder like, what happened? And it's crazy how the problem was from before. I didn't know it was from before because I knew you at the comedy scene. I always saw you in the clubs. Everything was fun and dandy and everything else. And then you leave to Hollywood, and then you come back a different person. And now I'm thinking, I was generally thinking that Hollywood did this to you. Because I know how hard it is to be out here by yourself, because I'm out here by myself. I don't have family out here. But, so I thought it was Hollywood, and it's crazy how it was actually before. And yo, dude, I want you to know I love you to death, bro. And if you ever need to talk some more on it, I'm here, bro. Because
listen,
I would have known back then, I would have been there.
My therapists earned their money. Trust me. LA didn't do it to you. Wherever you move, your problems go with you. All I did was bring my problems to a nicer studio with a pool and better weather.
Yeah.
That's all I did, because I didn't extend socially. I didn't extend comedically. I pretty much just stood in my apartment for about 8 months.
Yeah.
Only leaving to do an occasional gig, and I would just run right back to the apartment.
I wanted to say, people think that it takes strength to not break down, or takes strength to keep it all inside. It's actually completely the opposite. What you're doing right now is strength. What you did then is strength. Mm-hmm. You go ahead and do it, and that takes much more bravery. And actually, there's one other thing I wanted to say. You know that there's that quote. I think it's Plato actually, but he said, "Be kind."
You sure it wasn't Black Sheep?
It was not Black Sheep. You know I don't know Black Sheep. No, my rapper of choice is Plato. He said, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle." You got to know that, everybody out there, we are all fighting hard battles. It's like what Edgar's saying about Eric. He didn't know. This is a guy you knew well, and you could tell something was up, but you didn't know the fullness of it. It's and that thing I was describing, about last week, that was a really hard battle for me. I did not feel that I could tell anybody. I didn't think anybody would believe me, and then when I did tell them, they didn't believe me. They just were like, "No, it's nonsense." So like, I just want you to know, Eric, that like, I'm honored that you would share that with me. I'm honored that you share it with the people on this network. And I think it does a lot of good. It shows a lot of strength to everybody. That's what this is all about. So I applaud you.
I appreciate that. Well, I'm not going to come out here and say I'm upset because the Yankees win every year. That wouldn't exactly be walking the walk, now would it?
There you go. There you go. But I'm glad and just know that if you ever want to talk some more about it, if you want to get into more detail about it, we're always here for you.
Well, the one thing, if you notice, Edgar, I'm never shy about sharing what's going on with you now. But that's like anything else in life. It's a skill you learn. It's a skill you practice. It's not something that it's not a light switch where someone gives you a good idea and all of a sudden you know how to do these things. It's really it's a process, and it's like the way we got good at stand-up, the way you get good at being a therapist. You don't just walk out of school being good at something. You get better with experience and learning who you are and how it works for you. Everybody expresses themselves differently. So, now and there's always room to grow. And I think that's the most important thing I learned, is that there's always room to grow, and it's okay if you don't got it all figured out now. You could still work on trying to figure it out.
That's beautifully said. And in terms of talking, like actually talking to each other, it's a great way to think about it. It takes practice.
Lithium.
It takes lithium. No, it takes
and a lot of lithium.
And a lot of lithium.
No, but it's the same thing. Just to go recap real quick, which is like my walking the walk last week, which I talked about my mom, and I'm glad that you talked about this now, and I'm glad I talked about it last week, because it could be a depression that could kill me that deep down inside. No one needs to know, like you said, you ran away. You just wanted to be alone. I out here, I sort of feel the same way. And that's one of the many reasons why last week I wanted to share that first, because that's the one thing in my mind. The one pain that I have inside right now is losing my mom. And when I thought about this podcast, I thought about you first, Eric, because I wanted to hear this. This is what I wanted to hear, bro. I wanted to find out what happened to you, bro, because
so you put together this whole podcast just to hear that story?
Just for this. After this, people, you never hear this again.
It's an elaborate ruse.
No, but as your boy, I'm like, yo, what happened to my boy? Because it was a whole different person when you came back, yo, and I'm glad that you got to share that with us, yo.
And you did Dr. notice the difference, because I thought I was just the same.
No, hell no, bro. I noticed it. It was to the point that I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I even thought at one point, I was like, dude, this dude has got to be doing some crazy drugs, like it was to that point that you were like a complete. He said, I wish, but you were a complete different person from from the Eric that I met, and it was always, I never knew how to come up with it. I never knew how to say it. I never knew how to ask you, Eric, you okay? What happened? Because sometimes that's another problem, and that we have as men. It's a good point. Sometimes we could see someone having a problem and we completely disregard it, instead of being a better person and be, yo, you all right, bro?
Yeah, we don't want to embarrass them or something. Like we're going to embarrass them. So like we hope we spare them. But you know what, Edgar? If I would, a part of me wish more people would have asked. So when you see somebody and you see a difference in the same way you notice, Edgar, ask. Someone might be dying to tell you something. I probably would have. I probably would have spilled my guts.
Yeah. Let me add one other thing. Don't ask just once.
Ask
twice. If you ask the second time, it's a big difference. It's kind of like in America, we say, how are you? We don't even mean it. It's just like saying hi.
That's right.
The second time,
approach them like someone you want to sleep with really badly. You don't just ask once.
No. But you keep asking.
But
you
you
make
keep
sure
asking.
You just keep asking. If they say no, then
And that's what it's all about, man. It's about sharing and then laughing, talking, knowing that, we all have issues, we all have problems, but at the end of the day, man, just being there for each other help, man. And thank you all. I want to take a quick break to give a shout out to everyone that has watched the podcast, that has commented. I find it crazy how more women are reposting and watching our podcast than men. It's cool because women want to know, but I'm telling those women now, please share it with your man. If you feel like your man, your husband, that special person, your father, anyone in your life, any male in your life feels like they could get something from this podcast, please share with them, spread the word. I think it's a wonderful thing that we're doing here. Thank you for sharing tonight, Eric, and thank you. And for those of you at home, man, just talk. It feels good, man. It just let it out. Don't worry about the heat. Let it out. And like I said, remember, like, comment, share, and then write comments on the bottom of this video, man. And if you have a problem that you're dealing with that you want us to discuss on air, then definitely write it down. Don't be afraid, brother. We'll definitely talk about it.
And
thank
please
you all
send
for the
all
support.
Black Sheep albums to Dr. Dan. We must solve this huge problem.
I want Dr. Dan to sing Black Sheep by the end of this season.
I want him to
By
know every
himself.
90s hip hop band before this show's over.
Thank you. You want to take us out, Dr. Dan?
that sounds good. Guys, it was an honor being here with you. I'm glad we talked. I think we're showing people how to talk, and we're learning how to talk ourselves. We're practicing. So this has been great. Guys out there, if you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below, and we will get back to you personally. Can't wait to discuss things with you more.
See you next week, y'all. Peace.
See you next week.